What's up, Anamangians? And welcome back. So, I was watching CU yesterday while the rest of the world apparently was watching Game of Thrones. Apparently, HBO has like a new record broken. 19 million people watched that episode. Well, I mean, I'm broke, so I don't have an HBO subscription, so I had to watch it later, but that's a different story. Anyway, so I was enjoying CU yesterday. There seemed to be a minimum amount of hype behind this movie. Some people were talking about it, and I kind of hesitated a little bit on watching it, but I was like, hey, I don't have anything else going on Sunday, so let me check this Netflix movie out. And I have some mixed feelings about it. Overall, I feel like the movie was decent. It was entertaining. There were some things that I feel like it did really well, and then there are some things that I feel like it didn't do so well or weren't necessary. And then of course there's the ending of the movie, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are kind of browsing the web to see if other people feel the same way that they did about this film. Now, I would say this. I agree with the rest of the world about the ending of this film, but after having about a day to like kind of let it sit on me, I feel a little different. But we'll get to that in a little while. But first of all, let's go ahead and talk about the movie. See You Yesterday is an American science fiction film directed by Stephen Bristol, and it was produced by Spike Lee. Fun fact, Stefan, he's actually Spike Lee's protege. So apparently he's been working under Spike Lee for some time, or studying under him. Maybe they've been sharing notes. I don't know. But that's why this film is so, it bleeds Spike Lee. I mean, everything from the cinematography to some of the characters, especially this particular character named Eduardo. He really reminds me of a character from another show based on a movie from Spike Lee named Mars. And Eduardo and Mars are almost exactly the same person. It's like just one version is younger and one version is older and a little bit more adult. So you can see the Spike Lee touches and the inspirations here. Not that it's a bad thing, because I believe that Spike Lee definitely has his own flavor, his own style, but it doesn't really say much about Stefan and his directing style and his flavor if it's so heavily influenced by Spike Lee's work. Stefan, I'm not sure this is his first film, but if he's a new director, it kind of makes sense that he kind of started out, following under people that he looks up to. But I would hope that, in future projects, we'd see something that's that separates itself a little bit more than just it being science fiction from Spike Lee's work. Now, moving on to the story, it follows the story of a young girl named CJ and her friend Sebastian. They are really, really smart high school kids who are trying to figure out time travel. And it doesn't really take too long to get to that, to them actually figuring it out. And of course, something happens in CJ's life, and she wants to go back in time and try to stop it. And then, of course, you have the rest of your movie. I will say the pacing of this film is very quick. I mean, it honestly felt like it flew by. And I feel like that worked to its detriment, because while there were some really, really good character moments between CJ and her older brother Calvin, and even CJ and Sebastian, I felt like those moments could have lasted a little bit longer, or could have had more impact if there was a little bit more going on in the film, or a little bit more time to kind of let that sink in and gestate a little bit before we moved on to the next scene. So I feel like the brisk pace of the movie just didn't allow for that kind of stuff to like really hit home. And I felt myself not really caring as much about these characters as I feel like they want you to. They want you to care about CJ and her plight, her relationship with her brother Calvin, her relationship with Sebastian. They want you to care about what this movie's message is, and I feel like it kind of does that, but not really, because it's so short. You don't really get an opportunity to for it to really hit home, in my personal opinion. One thing I will say is that while I do like that it's sci-fi and we have some African American kids who are really intelligent and doing all of this, it does look a little cheap at certain points. I'm not even going to lie. It does not look like it made it cost a lot of money to make. Maybe Netflix just didn't have the budget for some of the time traveling scenes. I felt like it kind of took me out of it a little bit. Whenever they be traveling through time, it made me feel like this was probably created by like a, high school student or something, or like a fan film, and that really hurt it a little bit. I know that the movie is not really serious, and it kind of had a lighter tone, but I do feel like it not having, the budget being so low really did hurt it a little bit more than I expected. That's not to say that there weren't some things that I felt were done really, really well. And that's, first of all, I want to talk about some of the performances. Ian Duncan Smith as C.J. Walker did a really, really good job of just of portraying a sister who is really reeling and determined to find a way to fix her issues, to show that she cared a lot about her family. I mean, this is a character that you can really get behind and that you can rally for, even though sometimes it's a little difficult to get behind her because she's not perfect. She has an attitude problem. She gets angry really, really easily. And even though her heart is in the right place, it might be a little misguided. But she does a really, really good job here. I believe that Ian Duncan definitely has a future in cinema, in future projects. I'd be really excited to see what else she has going for her. Dontae Critchlow, even though he was good at portraying the friend, and he does have a moment or two where you can actually see like some of that raw emotion coming out. I do feel like he didn't really have too much to do. This is definitely Eaton's movie, and he's just kind of there to kind of help things move along. While he does a serviceable job in that respect, I don't think that he'll be very memorable overall. But I do feel like Brian Bradley as Calvin and Jonathan Neves as Eduardo are two standouts here. Brian Bradley, for sure, playing the older brother who's more experienced and wants the best for his sister. I mean, it just comes off as so genuine. This is somebody that I feel like I know in person. This is someone that I feel like I can go down the street to and talk to, and they act just like that. I mean, it didn't seem like he was acting. It seemed like he was just being himself, and that was really his younger sister. And, he does have some other moments where he has to show fear, show bravery, heroism, and I feel like he does that very, very well. I mean, he even has some moments where he's trying to be that strong brother, but, he's still emotional. He's still scared. And I feel like Brian does a wonderful job here. I mean, if there's no one else in this movie, Brian for sure needs to be given his props for his performance in this role. Definitely one of the stronger performances here. And Jonathan Neves, he's a silly character. Like I said, he's more like Mars, but he's definitely the comedic relief. The movie can get dark in certain areas, and he's definitely there to kind of try to lighten or brighten things up. The only issue I have with his character is that he's just not in it enough. I feel like he was very funny. Jonathan is really charismatic. He took the role, he made it his own, and it looked like he was having a lot of fun with it. I just hate that the movie was so short. We only got to see a little bit of him because I really feel like a little bit more of him would have added to some of the enjoyment of the overall film. Now, what I want to talk about is some of the messages that this movie is giving, right? This film is heavily rooted in some recent issues that we've had with police brutality, police violence, Black Lives Matter, all of that. And I do appreciate that the movie tried to tell its story or give its message a different way, right? Without like beating you over the head with it. basically it's saying, here is the problem, here's what happens, and even though you try to go back and stop it, something, it's probably still going to happen, no matter what you do, and that seems to be the situation that we are in currently. All these people getting shot, killed, sometimes innocent, sometimes they're not, but the shoot first, talk later type of mentality that some, not all, police officers have. It's a scary thing, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be stopping anytime soon, even with some of the things that have been put in place. It doesn't seem like any of that is changing anything or making enough of a difference where certain people can feel safe leaving their homes, not being afraid when they're getting pulled over, being afraid to even talk to law enforcement. So I feel like that message was really, drawn home here. But I feel like the ending kind of tries to double down on that message when it doesn't need to. And I feel like that's why a lot of people are upset, because this is a movie that got us message across fine. But then it has an ending that kind of doubles down on the, no matter what you do, this is going to happen. And it kind of leaves you feeling unsatisfied in a way. Like the movie was unfinished, like the story wasn't over, and you just sat through this entire time for there not to be really much of a resolution. Now, having said that, and also having let the movie sit and, rack around in my brain for a day, I do feel like this is a film. I do feel like the ending is probably the most appropriate ending it could have had. And I say that because in real life, and of course, the movie and its determination to be so true to life, I do feel like it's probably at the expense of the entertainment value overall. But I do feel like the ending was appropriate because there is no resolution to that right now. People are still getting killed by cops all the time. And it doesn't seem like that anything that anyone does is going to change that fact. It seems like this is always going to be a problem no matter what. And or at least for the foreseeable future. So the way that it ends, without having a resolution and without really answering every question that we have, is very true to life. It's very appropriate. It's not like this is something it's not like this is completely out of the blue or something. That I feel like that was a message that they were trying to get across. Hey, this is something that's still ongoing. There is no resolution. There is no fix. We're still trying to fix the problem. We are still trying to solve it. So maybe the movie couldn't have a happy ending like that. Maybe it just had to send the message that we're still trying to do this. We are still determined to stop this from happening. Now, whether or not you like that ending or you like the message that it's trying to give you, that's, your own personal opinion, and that's fine. You don't have to like it. You don't even have to accept it. You could be like, hey, I didn't like this. But I do feel like that's what they were going for, and I feel like it was probably not necessary. But clearly the screenwriters and everybody really wanted to drive that point home, and I feel like that's what they did. So even though the film was entertaining at certain points and it wasn't a bad watch, it definitely has some stronger moments than others. I feel like the end kind of made it, kind of took it to a different level when it didn't have to. So do I think you should stream this? Absolutely. Give it a shot. Check it out. See You Yesterday. It's a new Netflix film. It's been out all weekend. So if you haven't checked it out yet, definitely give it a shot. I feel like, it's a little young. Definitely aimed towards a younger audience. But if you're just into a good story, if you're into anything political or any kind of messages like that, I feel like there's something for everyone here. Check it out, stream it. Let me know what you thought. If you watched it already, what did you think? Did you think that its message became muddled by the end, or did you enjoy it at all? And if you didn't see it, why didn't you check this out? Was this a movie that you're just not interested in? Did something draw you away? Did something repel you? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you have not done so already, go ahead and click that subscribe button so that you can get more content like this, which contains movie news, reviews, and reactions from your boy Derek right here at Anamanji. Don't forget to click that like button, and do not forget to click that bell notification so that you will know when I post again. That's all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay dope.